Word of the new plan spread quickly, infusing a spark of hope in the otherwise withered spirits of the villagers. In the following days, the men, guided by Kato's instructions, dug tirelessly beneath the sweltering sun. Their hands blistered, but perseverance kept them going. At the same time, Jabari's group succeeded in locating certain herbs that could treat the stomach ailments afflicting many children. One evening, as the entire village huddled around small cooking fires, an elder suddenly collapsed. Jabari rushed to administer his herbs, but the elder's condition worsened. Maisha looked from Jabari to Kato with pleading eyes, recalling the traveling healer Obesai who lived in a remote part of the savannah. "We must get a special plan that only Obesai can provide," she said. Jabari opened his mouth to volunteer, but Kato spoke up first, remembering his training in the wilderness. Frustration flashed across Jabari's face, and in that moment, it became clear, the two brothers would either have to set aside their pride and make this journey together or risk losing a beloved elder, and possibly their entire village, to the merciless drought. A hush fell over the crowd as Jabari stepped forward. "I know the path to Obesai's dwelling," he said quietly. Kato nodded, remembering how Jabari had once mentioned meeting a traveling healer. The elders' shallow breathing underscored the urgency of their quest. Despite their unresolved feelings, Kato and Jabari prepared for the journey at first light. Armed with canteens of rationed water and the blessings of Momba and Maisha, they set out across the cracked earth and brittle grasslands. Their footsteps were tense and silent. Occasionally, Kato would point out tracks of small animals, or mention a trick for finding drinkable water beneath the roots of certain shrubs. Jabari responded with curt acknowledgments. As the sun climbed higher, scorching their necks, the tension threatened to boil over. Yet, each time an argument threatened to erupt, they were reminded of their mission. The elders' life and possibly the survival of the entire village hung in the balance. The first night, they camped near a withered acacia tree. The sky was a canvas of stars shimmering against deep velvet darkness. Even in the cool night air, the heat of their unresolved conflict weighed heavily on them. Kato built a small fire, recalling a childhood memory of them racing to gather kindling. For a moment, their eyes met, and a flicker of shared nostalgia passed between them. Jabari opened his mouth as if to speak, but a gust of wind rustled the dry grass, and the moment slipped away. Instead of words, the night offered only the lonely chorus of nocturnal insects. Yet deep within that quiet, there was a shift, a subtle, invisible sign that perhaps the bonds of family could be rekindled. They slept uneasily, lulled by memories of better times, both fearful and hopeful of what lay ahead. By midday of their second day on the trail, they encountered a swathe of tall grass where a winding stream once flowed. The landscape seemed barren, but Kato spotted faint animal tracks leading into a small thicket. "Water might be near," he suggested, forging ahead. Jabari hung back, hesitant. Within moments, a startled warthog burst from the undergrowth, charging recklessly in their direction. Jabari cried out a warning, and Kato sprang into action, hurling a spear that grazed the animal's flank. Snorting angrily, the warthog turned, aiming its sharp tusk straight at Jabari. Panic seized Jabari's limbs. In that life-or-death instant, Kato tackled his brother out of harm's way, sending both tumbling into the dust as the warthog scampered off. They lay panting on the ground, hearts pounding. Kato helped Jabari to his feet, concern etched into his face. For the first time in years, their eyes met in a moment of raw understanding. Jabari found himself muttering a quiet thank you, which hung in the hot air like a fragile link in a broken chain, hinting that healing was possible, if only they dared to trust it. By the time they found Obesai's dwelling at the edge of a rocky plateau, both brothers were sunburned and exhausted. The healer greeted them kindly, offering them a meager portion of water and the shade of his straw hut. Jabari and Kato explained their plight, the village elder's illness, the drought, and the urgent need for a rare medicinal plant. Obesai listened intently. He asked them to gather specific leaves from a scrubby shrub that only grew along the rocky ledges, warning them that the steep cliffs and loose stones made the task perilous. The two brothers exchanged a glance. Another test awaited. Together, they set off, carefully scaling jagged rocks. Midway up, a loose stone gave way beneath Jabari's foot, and he slipped with a shout. Kato grabbed his arm, straining to pull him back to safety. Painful memories collided with the present, but this time there was no room for old grudges, only raw instinct to save each other's lives. Hauling Jabari upright, Kato felt his own heart pounding not just from fear, but also from a fierce, protective love he had nearly forgotten. Jabari breathed heavily, staring at his brother in gratitude, realizing that no misunderstanding could erase the bond they shared. At last, they returned to Obesai's hut, the precious leaves clutched in Jabari's trembling hands. With measured precision, Obesai ground the leaves into a thick paste, mixing in other herbs and chanting softly in a language neither brother recognized. The journey back to the village was a blur of determination, the remedy safely stored in a carefully sealed pouch. Exhausted but resolute, they arrived to find the villagers gathered anxiously around the ailing elder. Mwamba, his eyes red with worry, rushed forward. Maisha gently guided the brothers to the elder's cot. Jabari took a deep breath and began preparing the healing brew under Obesai's guidance. Kato offered unwavering support, ensuring the temperature was just right and the mixture properly stirred. The atmosphere was tense with anticipation. Every pair of eyes in the village focused on the brothers' actions. Finally, they administered the medicine, and the elder's shallow breaths gradually eased, color returning to his parched lips. Relief and gratitude exploded into cheers, tears, and embraces. Amid the jubilation, Kato and Jabari locked eyes, a lifetime's worth of anger, regret, and love swirling between them. A hush fell as the villagers sensed a greater healing taking place before their very eyes. Under the glow of a rising moon, the village celebrated the elders' recovery around a blazing fire. The once silent drums roared to life, and voices lifted in song. Men, women, and children danced on the cracked earth, celebrating not only the elders' deliverance but also the hope that with perseverance, they might survive the drought. Quietly stepping away from the revelry, Kato and Jabari found themselves under the same baobab tree where they had once played as children. The bark felt rough against their palms, but the memory of childhood laughter warmed them. Kato spoke first, voice trembling with sincerity. He confessed his pride, his failure to see Jabari's pain. Jabari admitted his envy, his inability to express how left behind he felt. Under that ancient tree, they forgave each other. Tears mingled with relieved laughter. They were still brothers, different yet bound by love. With this reconciliation, they returned to the fire, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, renewed by a bond unbreakable even by the fiercest drought. Moral lesson: in the days that followed, the newly dug water channels finally reached an underground spring, and a few much-needed rains blessed the land with renewed vitality. The village prospered once more. Kato continued to use his leopard warrior training to protect and provide, while Jabari discovered his gift for healing and caring for the welfare of others. Together, they exemplified how misunderstandings, even those that cut deep, can be overcome through humility, cooperation, and love. As elders recounted the tale of two brothers around future campfires, children listened with wide eyes, learning that forgiveness holds the power to mend even the deepest rifts. True strength, they realized, lies not in overshadowing others but in uplifting one another, an enduring lesson woven into the very fabric of family bonds across the vast, storied plains of Africa.